as far as this season, Jaylen Brown, as of right now, as far as 2025, 2026, is a far better ball handler, far better initiator of offense, far better passer and playmaker, in my opinion, because he's able to handle the ball in crowds far better than Kevin Durant. Is Kevin Durant a better scorer?
Handling the basketball has a lot to do with
I don't even want to say, but is he a more efficient scorer?
Jaylen Brown's a better passer than KD because he can dribble back.
Handling has a lot to do with passing. Handling the basketball has a lot to do with
passing. We're talking about passing.
Jaylen Brown is not a better playmaker than Kevin Durant.
Wait. So because you can dribble better, you pass the ball better.
No, Mars. He's saying that his ability to dribble better made him a better passer, getting to spots and angles and stuff. I think that's
so I'm okay. Better playmaker. Let's leave the passing out of it.
He's still a better passer.
He's a better playmaker. He's a better initiator of offense. I don't believe that Kevin Durant is just clearing him defensively either. But I think that when you have a combination of passing, playmaking, initiation ability, and you're still scoring the ball at a very efficient clip yourself on more volume, then yes, you definitely have an argument to go bam for bam with Kevin Durant. Well, I don't understand why you just go.
So do you think it's close? Do you think it's close?
Are you asking me or?
Yeah, you.
Real talk, I'll say it. I think that there's a gap. Do
you actually think they're going band for band? Or did you just say that?
I have Jaylen Brown kind of like comfortably better this year. I think Jaylen Brown has comfortably been better than Kevin Durant this year.
Comfortably.
Okay, so it's not band for band. Okay, that's okay.
So no, I mean,
he's a better defender than Kevin Durant.
But where would you like me to go? I mean, I guess I'm asking.
He wants you to go to the eye test. That's what he wants you to go to. He wants you to go to the eye test.
No, I'm saying, give me an argument outside because that argument
Kevin
for Kevin Durant,
much better
as other things offensively start to deteriorate, it doesn't hold as much.
Kevin Durant is
I'm
starting with the defense. Kevin Durant is
efficient.
I hear you. But I'm trying to retort to you. Kevin Durant is anchoring a much better defense this year than he is. And been a top tier rim protector this season. So I mean, that's not.
Unit.
Oh my God!
Kevin Durant has more defensive responsibility in his team than Jaylen Brown does.
This thing is serious.
No, he doesn't.
Kevin Durant is the anchor.
The problem right now is that Swiper's being serious.
Yeah,
Jaylen Brown is taking the other team's top matchup. I've seen Jaylen Brown do that multiple times this year.
But you realize
not only am I the best offensive
there
player,
are roles.
I'm checking your best.
No, but I think the problem is there are defensive roles.
The biggest role you can play on defense is to guard the other team's best player.
When Real Talk asks me a question, I'm going to respond. Kevin Durant has a different defensive role than Jaylen Brown does. So Victor Wembanyama doesn't guard his man to man, but he's still a much better defender than Jaylen Brown. Kevin Durant is an off-ball rim protector, and he's doing it at an elite level this year. That's facts. And the defense is better with him on the floor this year than it is with Jaylen Brown on the floor for his team. And the offense is comparable.
Swiper? Who's a better defender?
Kevin Durant. I've said this. I just said that like 30 seconds ago. Right. Kevin Durant's a better defender this year. And matter of fact, if we're gonna get, if we're gonna keep doing like,
if he's a better, is he a better defender in space? Is he a better defender in stretches? Is he a better defender overall this season? Because I saw Jaylen Brown take the assignment against Cade Cunningham. I saw Jaylen Brown take this. Whoa!
Because I can bring up Jamal Murray frying Jaylen Brown.
We're not doing one game. No, what we're doing,
Jamal Murray
because if we're doing, because here's the problem that we're having. If we're doing one game, because you're talking about Kevin Durant doing it.
It's not the same role.
KD guarded Jamal Murray.
But again, Jaylen Brown took the assignment against Cade Cunningham. Jaylen Brown took the assignment against Kawhi Leonard. Jaylen Brown is actually taking the assignments during the season, and he's flourishing in that. Now, Kevin Durant, on the other hand, does he take the assignment more than Amin Thompson? Does he take the assignment more than other guys on the group? Or is he a better defender in stretches? Or is he a better defender in stretches, Swiper? Because I think Jaylen Brown is a better
defender. Is Chet Holmgren a better defender than Jaylen Brown? What I'm asking. Is Chet Holmgren a better defender than Jaylen Brown?
What does that have to do with Kevin Durant?
But Swiper, KD's not in, though.
Answer the question.
KD's not Wemby or Chet. No, we get the point you're trying to make.
He is doing the same role leading to elite defense, though.
I think he's a better rim protector than Jaylen Brown. I think he's better around the rim.
So you don't think Chet's a better defender than Jaylen Brown overall?
I think Jaylen Brown on the perimeter, I think he's been better.
He had 22 points and 17 assists because he was playmaking. So again, that's what I'm saying. You just take out the playmaking passing. I think he ate it for 50 plus points in that game. So not just the points with Jamal. That was the point. They couldn't guard him, so therefore he had 17 assists in that game. Anyway, chill. I think the issue is if you're like, when do we want to value the rim protecting stuff? I guess is what I'm asking.
I'm always valuing the rim protecting stuff. Yes,
Kevin Durant's one of the best rim protectors in the league this year, like bar none.
Now he's been one of the and he's been one of the best rim protectors this season in stretches.
Somebody said you're comparing KD to elite rim protectors. KD has been an elite rim protector this year.
Okay, and Swiper, I get that part, but my question is how much of a rim protector has he been though? Like when we talk about rim protectors, we're talking about Mobley. We're talking about
better this year, better
at the rim than Mobley, at the rim better than Chet, guys like that. Is that what you're
doing? I'm gonna pull again. I did this 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna pull all these names.
There's more to rim protection than just the numbers.
Exactly.
There's more to it than like KD's holding because the numbers are like he's holding opponents like 11% below expected, which is like better than like the Mobleys of the world. That's cool, but there's more to rim protection than what happens when you actually contest the shot.
No, I hear you, but I think
he's not making a play at the rim. What about the deterrence factor of rim protection? KD's not elite in all of the areas of rim protection. He's been great when you have to score over KD at the rim, he's great, sure. Mm-hmm. But there's often times where he's not making that rotation. There's often times where he's not stopping people from going up for a shot, which is the most valuable form of rim protection. So to say he's like been a better rim protector than Evan Mobley, like
that's not true.
Well, I think at the very least he's been in the conversation. He's been in the conversation with them this year. He's
been one of the best rim protecting wings. He's been the best rim protecting wing in the league, unless I'm forgetting someone like egregious. But I'm pretty sure he's been the best rim.
Yeah, J-Dub has been out, so.
But that doesn't put him in the conversation with like the true bigs. Like that doesn't put him in that space. But as a rim protecting wing, for sure, absolutely, and he still can guard in space, although they keep him away from that for the most part. But he still can guard in space, and I do think you guys are overstating how much Jaylen Brown's taking these assignments. But it's not like
even with that, this is what I want to say because this is why I asked Swiper like, is he watching the games and for better explanation than just efficient.
I didn't say that.
Yes, we know Kevin Durant is an efficient scorer. We all know that, but that's not a good enough argument.
I didn't say that. I didn't bring up the offense at all.
Or efficiency and rim protection. I got your argument. Cool.
I didn't bring up efficiency at all. I haven't talked about offense.
Cool.
So don't put words in my mouth. You brought that up to diminish Kevin Durant's argument.
Watching the games, you would see in the context of these two players and the teams that they're playing on, both of them, right, have been required this year to do more on-ball initiating responsibilities because number one, the Rockets do not have a point guard, and number two, the Celtics are missing their best passer, playmaker, initiator, and Jason Tatum. And so the concerns about Jaylen Brown coming into this season were, can Jaylen Brown take on more on-ball responsibility? Right, because Jason Tatum is not there to do that. Can Derek White do it as well? And so we've seen this season as both teams have needed more ball handling from these two. One is doing it, in my opinion, at a far better rate and a far higher clip than the other. And so, in my opinion, being able to be the one that can initiate the offense, can pass and play make and handle the ball, I think brings just as much value as shooting 50% from mid-range.
Why do you do that?
I think.
Why does he do?
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing about with Kevin Durant's numbers when you know that they have no offensive personnel around him to actually make space for him? And the fact that he is shooting 50, 40, 90 this year.
But we can't put defense in the context with who Jaylen Brown's playing with.
He's playing with. He's literally playing with perhaps.
I think third should be put into context.
He's playing with literally maybe the best second or third best offensive coaching situation in the NBA.
We're talking about
an elite offense.
You made the argument that Kevin Durant was better on defense.
Ron,
but you made the argument.
Why are you interrupting if we're talking about offense?
Swiper, you have interrupted plenty of debates up here, with your shenanigans.
Real talk or talking, and you keep bringing in sidebars.
No, we are talking. Everybody's in this discussion. Ox was in this discussion before you left.
What are you contributing to the discussion?
Wait. Can we get back to
No. Swiper made a point, and I'm countering it.
Please.
I said, can we keep the same consistency? Because you brought up Kevin Durant on defense, that his numbers are better when he's on the floor. He's playing with Amin Thompson, an all-NBA defender. He's playing with Tari Eason. He's playing with other good defenders. He's also playing with a defensive coach. You were just going to say that they have a better offensive scheme. He's playing with Ime Udoka, who is historically a good defensive coach. So that is the reason why it's more impressive what Jaylen Brown's doing on defense.
with less personnel too.
Who are you talking about?
But Mars,
he's basically saying the same argument for Kevin Durant's offensive situation is inverse to Jaylen Brown's defense.
Well, I know, but I'm allowed to move to the offense, Kevin, because Real Talk said because he's shooting 50% from mid-range, as if that was a dismissive point. I think that actually speaks to Kevin Durant's value this year, is that he's playing in a defensively slanted team with no other offensive creators, and despite the fact that he's in a negative offensive situation with Alperen Şengün and Amen Thompson and these non-shooters, non-spacers, in a bungled up situation, he's still been one of the best ISO players in the league. He's still been one of the best pull-up shooters in the league. He's still been a very proficient scorer this year, and he's having one of his best scoring seasons actually in the last few seasons. So I think that does matter. So you, in the initial conversations, trying to maybe dismiss in some way that he's shooting 50, 40, 90 as a way that he's not putting up volume. He is putting up volume. And he's not only putting up volume, he's also uber efficient with it. I actually don't think Jaylen Brown's been better than quite a few players this year. And we can get through that list if you want, including Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi's been better. I think he's doing his job. I think he's been excellent as a scorer, excellent as an offensive player, and also been good defensively this year. He has. And I think, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Like, I don't know if I say, where are we on the Kevin Durant thing? Because I feel like chilling Real Talk or where you are, Mars, Ron, I don't know where you are.
Me and you are the only ones who think KD has been better. The other four think Jaylen Brown's been better.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think again, I just want to make sure I'm not dismissing the 50, 40, 90 stuff. However, I already knew that you would go there because quite frankly, you're a one-trick pony. So I already knew the points you were going to make. So what I'm saying is being more efficient, in my opinion, when you are deficient in other aspects of your game, is not going to inherently just put you over other players because you're 50, 40, 90. Like there's more to basketball than being accurate. What's up, Mars?
I wanted to ask, you agree Jaylen Brown is in a much better offensive context than Kevin Durant?
Absolutely. Okay. But the thing that me and you already have agreed with is that listen to the things that I'm saying Jaylen Brown is better at then, right? We already agree that Kevin Durant has gotten worse as a ball handler being shown multiple bodies, correct?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I think that Jaylen Brown, even though he's in
Jaylen Brown's averaging more turnovers per 75 than Kevin Durant is.
Jaylen Brown is in a more optimal offensive situation. I definitely agree with that. But Jaylen Brown is still seeing multiple bodies, meaning that he's the best player on this team right now.
Why is Jaylen Brown turning the ball over?
Wait, let's get back to Mars's. Keep going.
And I think that he's initiating and passing and playmaking responsibilities. Even in a better situation, I think he's still better than Kevin Durant at that right now, as far as 2026.
Why is he turning the ball over more than Kevin Durant this year?
Why is he turning the ball over?
Why is he turning the ball over more than Kevin Durant this year?
How much more is he turning? Wait, stay right there, Mars. How much more is he turning the ball over than Kevin Durant? Go.
No, should that matter? He said that
yes, because if I'm only turning the ball over one more time,
he's a way less efficient scorer. He's a way less efficient scorer. He's a slightly better passer.
If I see a 0.1 turnover difference,
that's what I'm talking about. This is what I mean, right?
It's per 75. I see 4 to 3.1. 4 to 3.1.
Okay, so one turnover a game.
That is
41. It's a 41% percentile turnover rate, which is Kevin Durant, to a 53% turnover rate for Jaylen Brown. That's what I'm saying.
So you turning the ball, turning the ball over.
Okay. So a percentage of like 1%.
Jaylen Brown is still handling the ball more than Kevin.
And he's a less efficient. He's less efficient with the basketball in his hands, and he's less efficient as a scorer on elite volume. So I'm saying, like, at what point does efficiency matter if I'm more efficient with my touches overall?
And what we not doing is, and see, here's the problem that we have.
Jaylen Brown has the ball for 5 minutes a game. KD's
really quickly, Mars. Really quick.
No. But Mark, I'm doing per 75 possessions.
Don't let him.
You understand what I'm saying?
Because what he's going to do is
even on a per possession basis, Jaylen Brown has the ball more than Kevin Durant.
Sure.
So it opens up.
And even if that's true, even if that's true, Mars, what he's doing is he's not taking into context what kind of turnovers we're having. How about me throwing the ball to Kata and Kata dropping the ball out of bounds when he's wide open underneath the basket? How about me getting the ball to Derek White, who is getting to the rim and ends up turning the ball over?
Getting the ball to Derek White.
That's the point. The point is, Swiper, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make him look like an
Jaylen Brown leads the league in losing the ball, though. Like, just with his dribble. He's still leads the league in that. That's Jaylen Brown, though. We know that.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown.
We do that. But what I want to do is I want to get back to Mars, you brought up a really interesting point about the context of the offense, right? And
you're in a better offense and you're turning the ball over more and less efficient, like by a lot.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Can we hear what Chill was saying? Because you just complained that Ron interrupted you, but Chill's been trying to get this off for 5 minutes. So
Mars, you brought up in the context of the offense, right? So in the context of the offense, more times than not, teams build offenses around a guy's strengths, right? So with the
ideally,
that's the ideal situation. So in Houston, they built that offense. Kevin Durant was supposed to come in there because they needed that bucket getter. They needed that pull-up three-point shooter. They needed that long ball shooter, right? They needed that guy to put some more pressure on the defense. That's what they did there, right? With that being said, when I think about what's going on in Boston, the offense has not changed, but the personnel has changed dramatically. They're replacing Drew Holiday. They're replacing KP. They're replacing Al Horford.
You don't think the offense has changed?
I don't think the offense has changed that much, Miles, to be quite honest with you. And the reason why I don't think the offense has changed that much because they're still at the top of the league in long balls. They're still at the top of the league in makes. But I'm thinking about, what I'm thinking about the most is I'm thinking about the personnel and how it's changed. Well, if I'm moving off of KP and Al Horford and Jason Tatum and Drew Holiday, and I'm replacing those guys with Luka Garza and Kada and
Anthony Simons.
Anthony
Taylor Shireman,
right? And what I'm doing, Mars,
Hugo Gonzalez.
I still
like demon defender Hugo Gonzalez.
I do like
no doubt.
Respect. What I'm trying to do, Mars, is I'm trying to implement the same system, which is ball movement, which is action. They don't really play that fast, right? They've never really played that fast because we got guys who aren't as efficient at handling the basketball. But what I am going to do is I'm going to keep moving the ball in the half court. I am going to mismatch hunt at the long ball line because I want to create open shots at the long ball line. And they've been doing that with less personnel. So when you're talking about the context of the offense, I feel like what's going on in Boston with him changing that personnel and them being still at the top of the league as opposed to what's going on in Houston with them changing that offense for Kevin Durant. I mean, I think that speaks volumes for what they're doing in Boston.
So you think Boston's system is the same, but Houston's system is different offensively?
I do think the Houston system is different. Yes.
Even though I could just argue they're still getting the most offensive rebounds, so that's playing the same way. If the same argument is Boston still shoot a lot of threes, so the system's the same, then Houston's still getting a lot of offensive rebounds, means their system is the same.
And I'm glad
the way in which they do things is different. Now, the outcomes might be similar. Houston is still trying to get to a bunch of O boards. Like that's still like their MO. They're still trying to crash the glass, all of that stuff. But we can recognize they're using KD differently. Like KD wasn't just, Jalen Green's replacement. Just do what Jalen Green was doing. It wasn't that because they're trying to get KD more involved in that at that elbow. They're trying to get him more intermediate shot making, whereas Jalen Green was a lot of high pick and roll, pull up three, blah, blah, because they were different players. Jaylen Brown is being used differently to how they use Jason Tatum. It's not like they just said, Jaylen Brown, you're our Jason Tatum. Now everyone else is going to fill in.
No, they ain't doing that.
They're still using Jaylen Brown like Jaylen Brown. They're setting up, they're trying to get him advantages going downhill, whether that's with cross screens in transition. Like they're trying to create semi-advantages that Jaylen Brown takes advantage of. They're also utilizing the mid-range a lot more because of Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is their mid-range shot light. So they've increased some of their shot profile from areas that they weren't high volume last year to incorporate Jaylen Brown and not make him. Like if he was playing like Jason, if they just kept the system the same, Jaylen Brown would be shooting 8 pull-up threes a game like Jason Tatum did. If the system was the same, he would just be Jason Tatum in Jaylen Brown's body. But it's not the same. I mean, they understand. So your point, they made the system fit.
You can have a base system, but still like those aren't Jaylen Brown's tendencies to shoot.
Exactly. But that's my point. The system is different because in order to cater it to Jaylen Brown, you have to incorporate him into the ideology. The ideology is the spacing, getting matchups, all of that stuff. That's the ideology. But you don't need to handpick matchups with Jaylen Brown the same way you do with Jason Tatum. Because Jaylen Brown has more of a physical advantage over certain people. And because of the way he plays in the mid-range, you don't need to spend time mismatch hunting. So Boston actually mismatch hunt less this year than they did last year. That's a change to the system because you're incorporating Jaylen Brown as opposed to Jason Tatum. Kevin Durant, you don't need to run a whole bunch of high pick and rolls for because A, he's not as good of a ball handler as Jalen Green, and B, because he can get to a shot in the mid-range and Jalen Green couldn't. So like you change the system, although you keep the same ideologies. Boston's ideologies are similar, but their system isn't the same. And Jaylen Brown's offensive context, to Real Talk's point, he agreed, but Jaylen Brown's offensive context is still better and more favorable than Kevin Durant. Even if the talent level isn't as high. Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün, Reed Shepherd, like these guys are talented offensive players. Boston might not have the same level of offensive talent because like Anthony Simons is great, Derek White is cool, like but Luka Garza or whatever, but like they don't have the great talent but their principles and the way in which they try to emphasize spacing and maximize Jaylen Brown's offensive usage still lends to him more than Houston's system lends to KD. And KD is still really effective within that. And that's not Jaylen Brown, by the way.
But we also have agreed, though, in Saul, that Jaylen Brown is still on ball more than Kevin Durant this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, 5 minutes to 4.3. Yeah.
So in my opinion, I don't think that, like, because the framing of this argument is, well, you put KD in the construct of that Boston Celtic team, and then what? And in my opinion, I don't know.
That's not what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I know.
I know where you're going.
I know what I'm saying is, I still don't think it really massively changes Kevin Durant's output and numbers. I really don't. I still think Kevin Durant will still be around 25 to 26, around 50, 40, 90. I don't think that really shifts. However, I do think that if they're asking him to be on ball more and handle more on ball responsibilities, I do think that you might see that turnover number go up a little bit more. I do think that we see some of the passing. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, now, I don't think he's massively better in the Boston Celtic context than Jaylen Brown, or even than his Rocket self, because he's always efficient no matter where he's played.
Sure. Yes.
And but I wasn't making the argument of what KD would do in Boston, because I don't care about the switch teams argument, to be honest. I just understand that KD's offensive situation isn't conducive to his play style. We understand Jaylen Brown's is. That we can understand that, like, being optimized is a big deal. Like, and I'm not saying KD would be optimized in Boston, because you don't want to put the ball in KD's hands more. That's not how you optimize KD. But if one person's optimized and one person isn't, there being a minor difference in numbers is to be expected. But I would also just say, in like the creation, like, play types, Jaylen Brown turns the ball over more than Kevin Durant.
But with that being said,
he turns the ball over more than KD does. In isolation, he turns the ball over more than KD does.
That's because KD
so,
doesn't
like,
do
saying
a lot.
He's better at these things, it's like, sure.
That's because KD doesn't do a lot with the ball.
It's negligible at best to me.
Yes, but that's because KD doesn't do a lot with the ball. But to counter your point about KD and the offense, I mean, I think that one of the main reasons why the offense did get switched and it got magnified now, Steven Adams is out of the lineup, because a lot of the stuff that they were doing offensively was predicated on second chance points and second chance opportunities. Well, now your best offensive rebounder is out. Well, now I have to.
I mean, Clint Capella.
I have to rely now on being more of an efficient scorer, because if we don't, because we're not going to get those second chance opportunities.
And that's what he's doing.
Right now, so now to your point, when you're talking about Jaylen Brown, it seems like they've exited Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown seems to be doing the same thing that he was doing last year. He still was on the ball. He still was playing in transition. He still was playing in the mid-range. He still was getting downhill, still getting to the rim. Now, you take Jason Tatum out of that lineup now as your best ball handler, your best perimeter distributor and playmaker. You take that out. Now what we have is we just have more ball movement. We already had that when Jason Tatum wasn't in the lineup. So that was part of the system anyway. We did have ball movement. We did have mismatch hunting. Even though we don't have the personnel to mismatch hunt as more, but we still do have that. They do that with Peyton Pritchard, Moss. When they get Peyton Pritchard on the wing, they do look for him to mismatch hunt. They do look for Derek White to mismatch hunt. They just don't do it as much. And the ball is moving and there's more action as opposed to what it was with Jason Tatum, which I think is different now because Jason Tatum isn't there. But I think in terms of their offense, I think it's pretty similar.
I think for me, it boils down to Kevin Durant is always going to have an efficiency argument against 99% of the field.
Yeah,
that is going to reign true, and that is a testament to his greatness. I'm not denying that. However, we've had efficient players, and that doesn't outright just make them better than these other players. Adrian Dantley at no point was like better than named top 5 player in the league. So, like, being efficient isn't the end all be all. What I'm saying is, when you watch this season, when you watch Kevin Durant and when you watch Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, the Celtics are asking more of Jaylen Brown than the Rockets are asking of Kevin Durant. Not that Kevin Durant doesn't have a lot of responsibility. You can shake your head, but that is just a fact. Jaylen Brown is asked a lot of the time to be the play initiator and or play finisher and guard. I see him pick up a lot of the primary assignments, and if he's not, he's going to be the second best player, if the second best player. And so, and I also think that his motor is higher than Kevin Durant. I think you can ask more of Jaylen Brown because he's a younger player than Kevin Durant right now. I just think that Kevin Durant is in y'all's opinion, he's not in the optimal situation because of spacing. I agree. But I would also argue that Kevin Durant having a player like, even though he's not good, but having somebody like a Sengun who is going to still be like a hub of an offense, and he's still taking a lot of offensive responsibility away from Kevin Durant. Who's the Alfred Sengun for Jaylen Brown? Are you
Joe Mazzulla? Joe Mazzulla, the system that's elite, the elite system.
Yeah, he doesn't have a Alfred Sengun caliber player. I agree, but then I'm gonna get statistical. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Boston's offense, even without Jaylen Brown, still better than Houston's? If we acknowledge there's no Alfred Sengun, so obviously the talent level is not there. So what's keeping that offense afloat without Jaylen Brown?
They have Peyton Pritchard, who's a really good ball handler off the bench. Real
talk. They have good players.
Yeah,
that know how to play basketball.
They have
competent NBA players.
I agree. That wasn't a gotcha moment for anyone's like, so we agree. They have good NBA players alongside. I would hope we agree they have a good competent system that lends to good offensive result, right?
Yeah, elite.
Okay. Absolutely.
So then my question, why does it then matter that they don't have an Alperen Sengun caliber player if they have that in the aggregate, if that makes sense?
Because it
doesn't need to come from one person.
To me, number one, proving what they do when Jaylen Brown is off the court doesn't take away from the responsibility Jaylen Brown has when he's on the court. Those are two different things. And so what my argument is I think, in my opinion, that when I watch the Celtics and when I watch the Rockets play, when Jaylen Brown is on the court, he, in my opinion, he has more responsibility for that offense and how it operates than Kevin Durant does for the Houston Rockets. To me, that's how I feel. When I see Alfred Sengun out there doing a lot of the initiation, they even asked Alfred Sengun to dribble the ball up a lot on this team, the center. And the reasoning is because they don't want Kevin Durant doing that, really. The reason why they want Amin Thompson to try to be a point guard is because they don't want Kevin Durant doing that responsibility. The reason why they're playing Reed Sheppard is because they don't want Kevin Durant doing that responsibility. So, in my opinion, yes, I agree that the offensive system in Boston is more optimal than Houston. Agree with that. However, I feel like Jaylen Brown just has more responsibility for the Celtics when he is on the court than Kevin Durant does.
And Mars, to your point.
And chill. After this point, we gotta move on. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Really quickly, Mars, to your point, them being better with Jaylen Brown off the floor. That's only in stretches. I mean, they're a lot better with him on the floor than they are with him off the floor.
Yeah, I was just saying in comparison to the Rockets offense.
Right.
I'm not saying Boston's better without Jaylen Brown.
Right. I've never really bought into that logic, but I feel like with what that's all the point that I wanted to make.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the check throw smoke and the hoes go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out here did raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. This that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.